High above the crashing waves and the rocky cliffs of Maine, a tall, white lighthouse stood proud. This was the Pemaquid Point Lighthouse, and it was home to a very special bird named Penny. Penny was an Atlantic puffin with a super bright orange beak and two very floppy wings. Now, most puffins lived in burrows on nearby islands, spending their days diving for yummy herring. But Penny was different. She lived with Keeper Silas, the kind old man who ran the lighthouse. Penny's favorite thing to do was perch on the high railing, smelling the salty sea air and watching the lobster boats chug out to sea each morning. "Morning, Penny," Captain Mike would call from his boat, the Lucky Lobster. "Squawk," Penny would reply, flapping her wings happily. It was a beautiful, sunny morning, but in Maine, the weather can change in the blink of an eye. And this day, it changed very fast. By late afternoon, the bright blue sky had disappeared under a heavy, gray blanket. The wind began to whistle and howl. Then, a thick fog rolled in from the sea. It was a real pea-soup fog, so thick you couldn't even see your own feet. Up in the lantern room, Keeper Silas looked worried. He flipped the switch for the big light. Quick! Flash! The powerful beam spun around, trying to shoot through the darkness. "Oh, it's no more use," Penny, Silas sighed, wiping his glasses. "The fog is just too thick. The light won't reach the boats. They'll crash on the rocks." Penny looked out into the endless gray. She knew that somewhere out there, Captain Mike and the other fishermen were lost and couldn't find their way home. They needed help. Penny puffed out her chest. She wasn't big and powerful like the lighthouse, but she was fast. And she knew every single rock and wave in the harbor. Flap, flap, flap. With a determined squawk, Penny took off. She zoomed away from the safe, warm lighthouse and dived straight into the cold, wet fog. She flew low over the choppy water, her sharp eyes searching for any shapes in the mist. Suddenly, bong, bong, she heard the faint sound of a bell. Penny squinted, and there it was, the shadow of the Lucky Lobster, bobbing dangerously close to the dreaded sharp-toothed rocks. Captain Mike was spinning the wheel, his face filled with fear. "He can't see the harbor," he shouted into the fog. Penny swooped down and landed right on the bow of the boat. "Squawk, squawk," she cried as loudly as she could. Captain Mike gasped. "Look, it's Penny. She knows the way." But Penny took flight again, staying just ahead of the boat. Her bright orange feet and beak glowed against the gray fog like two tiny lanterns. "Follow the Puffin," Captain Mike yelled to the other boats that had appeared behind him in the mist. One by one, a line of fishing boats followed the little bird. Penny led them left, steering them safely past the sharp-toothed rocks. She then led them right, guiding them around the hidden sandbar. Squawk, flap, squawk. She was their tiny, feathered guide. Finally, the fog began to clear just enough for them to see the docks of the harbor. The water became calm. They were safe. The fishermen all cheered. "Hooray for Penny!" they shouted. 3 cheers for the brave little Puffin. Penny flew back up to the lighthouse railing, tired and wet but very proud. Keeper Silas was waiting for her with a warm, fluffy towel and a delicious, fresh sardine. "Good work, my little helper," Silas whispered, giving her a gentle pet. That night, the big lighthouse beam swept across the ocean, keeping watch as it always did. But everyone in the little town of Pemaquid knew that the bravest, most important light in Maine wasn't the giant lamp in the tower. It was a little puffin named Penny. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories.